we are being the worst team, maybe, in history of Manchester United. We have to acknowledge that and to change that. So, here you go, your headlines.
Ruben Amorim's candid assessment of Manchester United's current predicament was no exaggeration. With a new visionary manager and a fresh start after the chaotic final months of Erik Ten Hag's reign, the club was always expected to struggle further before finding consistency. Yet, few could have foreseen just how dire things would become. Their recent defeat to Brighton marked Amorim's 7th loss in just 15 matches across all competitions. As they remain stuck in 13th place in the league, just as they were when Ten Hag departed, it seems almost inevitable that they'll sink even lower than last season's 8th place finish, which was already the club's worst ever performance in Premier League history. Regardless of how you rate Amorim's coaching, it's clear as day that the quality of the club's poorly assembled squad over the years has hindered his efforts to revive their fortunes. The Red Devils are among the richest clubs in the world, yet they have struggled to mount a genuine title challenge since Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement in 2013. With no league title to show for their efforts, the sheer amount of money squandered on disappointing signings is nothing short of astonishing. Take for instance Amorim's starting 11 against Brighton, which cost the club around £440 million. In stark contrast, the standout player on the pitch, Brighton's Kaoru Mitoma, was signed by the Seagulls for just £3 million. This striking disparity highlights a troubling reality for Amorim. None of his hard work on the training ground will matter as long as so many of the club's high-wage players continue to let down the club and its fans week after week. United's deep-rooted problems start with their £48 million goalkeeper Andre Onana, who has been responsible for an alarming number of dropped points since arriving from Inter in the summer of 2023. His latest blunder against Brighton saw him lay flat on the ground, seemingly cursing himself for a rare lapse in concentration. However, given his track record, it was anything but rare. United's struggling number 1 increasingly displays a lack of redeeming qualities. He fails to command his box, his positioning and handling are poor, and even his distribution, supposedly his standout attribute and the main reason for his signing, has proven to be extremely erratic. Onana's uncertainty has had the adverse effect of permeating the entire United defense, leading to basic errors becoming commonplace, regardless of who Amorim selects in his back three. The previously shunned Harry Maguire has been the only defender to show any semblance of consistency, but even he has struggled at times against pacey wingers like those of Brighton. Lenny Yoro is still just 19 but has struggled in United's last 2 matches, while Matthijs de Ligt has yet to do enough to dispel doubts about his ability to perform at the highest level following his mediocre spells at Juventus and Bayern Munich. Then, there's Lisandro Martinez, who was rested against Brighton but has arguably been United's worst defender of the season. Aside from his gritty performance in the 2-2 draw against Liverpool, the former Ajax player has been a complete liability and appears uncomfortable in Amorim's back three. United's wingbacks have fared slightly better, but they still fall short of expectations. Ex-Bayern right-back Nusayr Mazraoui is fading quickly after a promising start to life at Old Trafford, while Diogo Dalot's frequent inability to track his marker often leaves the team vulnerable to counterattacks. By the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, subscribe so that you don't miss out on our future videos. Last season, United's lack of cohesion and running power in midfield significantly hampered their ability to gain any momentum. Ten Hag's insistence on pressing high while defending deep left vast acres of space in the center of the pitch, which often left 2 of Casemiro, Christian Eriksen, Sofian Amrabat, and Scott McTominay caught out of possession during transitional phases. While Amrabat and McTominay were moved on last summer, Casemiro and Eriksen are still clinging on to their Old Trafford careers, and United remain way too easy to play through whenever they're in Amorim's lineup. Even Kobbie Mainoo, who was the major bright spot for United last season, seems to be struggling physically under Amorim's demands, while the jury is still very much out on Manuel Ugarte. Although he has shown glimpses of being the ball-winning general United desperately needed, most notably against Liverpool and in the thrilling FA Cup victory over Arsenal, his performances against Brighton and Southampton were abysmal, marked by sluggish tackling and carelessness in possession. It may very well be necessary for Bruno Fernandes to drop deeper permanently, having impressed in a holding role when called upon. The club captain is at least guaranteed to run tirelessly for a full 90 minutes and possess the technical prowess to dictate play, qualities that neither Ugarte nor Mainu seem to exhibit at the moment. To watch our video on how Amorim's United stacks up against Ten Hag's, click the first link in the description or the card in the top right corner. The dilemma, however, is that United really can't afford to lose Fernandes in attack. Despite the team's collective struggles, he has still registered 11 goal involvements in 21 Premier League appearances this season, and the feeling is there's always a chance he can create something out of nothing. The same can be said for Amad Diallo, who has been a revelation since being promoted to United's first-choice right winger by Amorim. The Ivorian has bagged 5 goals and provided as many assists in his last 12 league appearances, earning cult hero status for his explosive playing style and relentless determination. It's just unfortunate that the rest of United's front line fails to match the performances of Amad. Joshua Zirkzee, another summer acquisition, has faced an unfair amount of criticism, especially considering how solid some of his link-up play has been. However, he has yet to make a decisive impact, evidenced by his meager tally of 4 goals in 31 appearances across all competitions. Meanwhile, Alejandro Garnacho seems to have regressed, often getting caught up in off-field controversies rather than focusing on improving his game, while Amorim has completely frozen out Marcus Rashford for his attitude in training. And last but by no means least, there's the goal-allergic Rasmus Højlund. The Dane is currently on a 9-game scoring drought and has just 2 league goals to his name this season. That is a disgraceful record for a striker who commanded a £72 million price tag when he moved to Old Trafford from Atalanta in July 2023. He was brought in to be United's long-term number 9 but seems to lack the ruthlessness required for the role. To complicate matters, Amorim has no other natural centre-forward options at his disposal. United are in shambles defensively and woefully short on firepower at the other end of the pitch. And it's no surprise that Amorim is beginning to feel powerless after inheriting such a disjointed group. Amorim's remarks were not meant to belittle United and its players, but rather to urge Ineos to act decisively in the transfer market, where their activity has been concerningly stagnant so far this January window. The only certainty is that United will continue to suffer until Amorim is given the authority to overhaul the squad. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more football news, stories, and insights. Also, don't forget to hit notifications so you never miss a beat. And with that, we'll see you in the next video.